Power does not arrive with mercy. It arrives with choices. Some are small, some are unforgivable. In the Byzantine Empire, emperors rose and fell through blood, betrayal, and belief. Yet one ruler stands apart, a woman who ruled alone, a mother who ruled against her son. Her name was Irene of Athens, and her story forces us to ask a dangerous question. How far can power be justified before it becomes cruelty? Irene was born around 752 in Athens. At the time, Athens was no longer the centre of ancient glory. It was quiet, provincial, politically irrelevant. She belonged to a noble family, respectable but powerless. No generals, no emperors, no political weight. Girls like Irene were not shaped for history. They were shaped for marriage. And yet, beyond the city walls, the empire searched for a bride. In Constantinople, the imperial court sought a wife for Leo IV, son of Emperor Constantine V. The bride had to be noble, beautiful, and politically harmless. Irene was perfect. At 17, she was selected, not consulted. She left Athens behind and entered a city unlike anything she had known. Constantinople was dazzling, but it was also deadly. In the palace, survival depended on silence and observation. Irene learned both quickly. Marriage to Leo IV made Irene empress, but not powerful. She was expected to smile, to obey, to produce an heir, and she did. Her son, Constantine VI, secured the dynasty. Yet Irene was not passive. She watched court factions rise and fall. She learned who controlled the army, who controlled the church. Power, she realized, was never given, it was taken patiently. Leo IV died suddenly in 780. Constantine was 9 years old. The empire stood at a crossroads. Many expected generals or advisors to seize control. Instead, Irene stepped forward. She ruled as regent, officially in her son's name. Unofficially, the empire was hers. But her position was fragile. She was a woman, a foreigner, and surrounded by enemies.
The army distrusted Irene. They preferred iconoclasm, the banning of religious images. Irene believed the opposite. She saw religion not just as faith, but as influence. She survived revolts. She removed generals. She replaced rivals. Each victory hardened her rule. Each compromise disappeared. In 787, Irene summoned the Second Council of Nicaea. Icons were restored. Religious images returned to churches. For believers, it was salvation. For Irene, it was control. By aligning herself with the church, she gained legitimacy. Faith and power merged, and Irene stood at the center. Constantine grew older, and he wanted what was his, the throne. He resented his mother's control. The army rallied behind him. In 790, Constantine ruled alone. Irene was sidelined, but she did not disappear. She waited. Constantine proved weak. Military failures followed. Support faded. Irene returned to power, this time as co-ruler. Mother and son ruled together, but trust was gone. Only fear remained. In 797, Irene acted. Constantine was seized inside the palace where he was born. She ordered him blinded. In Byzantium, a blind emperor could not rule. The act shocked the empire. Some sources say Constantine died shortly after. Others say history erased him. Either way, the result was clear. Irene ruled alone. Irene signed decrees as emperor, not empress, but her rule was isolated. The army rejected her. Foreign powers refused recognition. Her power stood, but hollow. In 802, Irene was overthrown. She was exiled, stripped of wealth, left to die in obscurity. History remembers her not for how she began, but for what she became. A ruler shaped by an unforgiving empire. A mother remembered for one impossible choice. Time does not forgive, it only remembers.